know how to search for it. You need to know specifically what you're looking for, right? So there's probably not a consistent way then of entering information. Sometimes? Okay. And we have one row here. Who would like to respond? Go for it.
Bi-weekly newsletter?
Bi-weekly newsletter. What's the problem with it? It's not read. Is that what it is?
That's spam quarantine.
So everyone heard that one? Okay. So what are the benefits of using these tools? So the tool that you actually thought of in your mind that was the greatest challenge to you, what is the benefit of still using it? Think one of those tools on there, what's the benefit of using that form of communication? It's quick and efficient. Okay. Documentation. Okay. What are other reasons? What's the benefits of using a tool that is a little challenging? Transparency? Once people learn it, yes. Yes, you have a record of your conversation. It's convenient. You can respond to it any time, right? So you don't have to wait till working hours to respond to things. You can kind of mark them off your checklist. I think that's why sometimes we like some of those tools, is we can just mark it done, but is it really done, or is it just sort of, once again, that concept of bouncing the ball? Is it now just in someone else's court and it's not really resolved? Yes?
I think it opens up a variety of different ways to communicate.
Okay.
Some people communicate faster by email.
Yep. Yes, that's right. Some people, and it depends on what type of work they are or where they are, right? How they can respond as well. Betty? Yes. Right, so the challenge is that with the emails, right, is the back and forth, and how far do you have to read, and once if you actually had to print it off, like, are we on to 10 pages or 12 pages to sort of correct something that could be quite simple with a phone call? What are other benefits of these tools that you use? So what is a benefit of Salesforce? I want 10 ideas. What's the benefit of Salesforce? 10 of them. 9.
Transparency.
Accountability. 8. 7. That one's been taken. Automation. 6. Real time. 5.
Record keeping.
4. 3. Oh, 3 of you at one time. Linked information. 2. And I'd like you to write down on your paper right now, what's the number one reason that you want to use Salesforce? Not to me. Number one reason you want to use Salesforce.
We don't have anything else.
So I'm gonna look right up this row here.
It's better.
Right up this row. The girl with the blonde hair at the very back. What's your number one reason? That's you.
I have blonde hair.
What's your number one reason for using Salesforce?
So you can see what everybody's doing and what everybody's talking about at the same time.
Doing
It's
and
not
talking
just-
about. The gentleman in front of you, what's your number one reason for using Salesforce?
Quick and simple.
Quick and simple. The next gentleman.
Track lead.
Track leads. You're in sales, right? Excellent. We've got a space, and then the next lady. Yes. Make process simple. Find information. Linked information. Yourself. It's efficient and company growth, so it's able to, we got your accounting hat on all the way. It's interesting the different ways people look at it. So see, in one row, those are sort of the advantages of looking at it. So when we sometimes have tools and they're a little bit of a challenge or we're trying to adapt them, I always like to remind myself, what's the overall benefit of it, right? Like not just the nitty gritty sort of concept of it, but when we actually start looking at communication, it's understanding the bigger picture. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's more difficult to pick up the phone, or it takes more effort to pick up the phone or to walk into someone's office and make plans to have a conversation than it is to send an email. But at times it's really valuable to sort of look at the tools that we actually use, right? So what do using these tools, so email, how does it make our relationships more effective, email? Besides covering your butt. It's efficient, right? Right, it's efficient. You can maybe do a couple of things in one email. But the really nice thing about email is that you can confirm quantifiable information. This product will be delivered on this date. It will be shipped, or something. If you need something specific to forward to somebody else, and the source is giving it to you, you can take that and copy and paste it and forward it on. Right? You don't have to worry about making a typo or a human error. Right? So I always find emails really good for sort of transferring of tangible information versus a discussion. What about your phone system? What's the benefits of your phone system in improving relationships? Call forwarding? Do we have another one? Right, you can see the availability of people in an instant. So it's important for you to keep it up to date, right? It's not just another, oh, I've got to do that. It's a really nice way for people to know if they can call on you or talk to you. Does that make sense? I also noticed that you can let someone know you can ask someone, right, if they're available to talk on the phone, because they're looking at it. It seems like as soon as that pops up, each one of your eyes go to it on your desktop. So I don't believe the warehouse has a computer. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
You do? Oh, you have access to them?
We have terminals.
Yes? Okay. So think about the idea that if you need to talk to somebody and you don't know if they're available, it's kind of a lame excuse, because all you have to do is type a little text and say, can we talk? I need 5, I need 10. One of the things that's a great way of building relationships is that if you really do need like a 20 minutes, say I need 20 minutes. I need 10 minutes, or I need 5, and try and stick to that when you're actually talking. It's another way that we look at communication and building relationships and building trust. If you need 20 minutes of my time, just ask for it. I'll tell you if I have it now or if I have it in 5 minutes or 20 minutes, right? But if you ask for 5 and you knew this conversation was not 5 minutes, it's that balance beam, right? That plus and negative. Just honestly be honest with me about the time that you need. And I think that's true for most people. And a couple of you are definitely nodding your heads in that part of it. So think about what you're asking for. Ask for what you really need, not what you think you might get. Right? They're different. Very, very different things when we talk about communication. So what about, give me another tool that you use right now. How does it benefit a relationship? Social media, how does that benefit your relationships? Customers, yes. Protect the brand. It's also kind of cool to show off to your friends, isn't it, what you're doing at work? Like, I kind of like social media. I think it's fun when people show me things that they've done or things they've designed. You know, I kind of enjoy seeing what people do at work. It's another way of looking at it, right? It's a nice soft way of saying, hey, look at this neat project I did, right? Did you even know our company did this project? So you can be very proud of the company you work for. What else? What are other ideas, other tools? Shared calendars, and how does that build relationships? Yep. Right. Yes. So it allows you time management, allows you to see when they're available. Also, if you're going on holidays, someone can't say, oh, I didn't know. Like, it's in the calendar. So, yes.
So it also gives the opportunity when you're trying to reach out to someone to talk to them, you can also have an appreciation for just how busy they are.
Yeah.
And the fact that you respond to initially is not them ignoring you, so they are not happy.
Right, so if that's it. So if you see, I'm just going to repeat so everyone can hear, the fact that if you look at someone's calendar and you see that they're out, bang, 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 you know, they're out seeing clients, they're out they're out of the office, they're somewhere that they can't be reached, then you know, oh, they're not ignoring me, they're busy. I better, if I really need to talk to them, I maybe need to call them or text them and say, hey, I need your help, right? Because they probably haven't seen your email. So that is something that we learn from people, right? We learn that we can maybe email people if we need to go back and forth, but when it's urgent, how else can I reach somebody, right? So we need to sometimes know those things as well when we're learning to build relationships with people and not to overuse them. I always find it interesting that some people think that in the emails, when we get there, they talk about the fact that, oh, I put everything as rushed, and I say in training, I go, you know, nobody reads them anymore. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. And I go, yeah, like, it's just too much. Like, if everything's a rush, they're not going to read anything. So if anyone in here is guilty of that, I don't know who you are. Just think about what you're sending and what kind of relationship you're building. Yes? Sure.
You don't have access to their personal email.
Right, and so everyone heard that to use the out of office. I just want to add one point to that. So the thing, how many people have their out of office on today? Congratulations. So the other thing that's really interesting about that type of messaging is when we start talking about communication, we talk about communicating to your direct person that you should be going to for information. Remember we spoke about that earlier in building relationships? If you know that your direct person is out of the office until 5 o'clock and you need to get back to someone, now you know it's like, okay, I need to find someone else to help me, assist me in this situation. And it's like my first primary contact isn't available, but I'm going to try my best to get to the next person then and the process that we have in the company. And once again, you're keeping your accountability and you're keeping the communication going, right? It's not like you're jumping, you're not playing leapfrog over somebody. Once again, leapfrog in the workplace does not help build relationships, right? It's that trust, the up and down again, the positives and the negatives. Anything else to add? Front row? No? So we've already been over this many, many times, but treat people the way you want to be treated. My favorite concept of this is if you have a friend coming over and they like dill pickle chips, what do we often do? We pick up. We have someone coming over and they, they prefer sitting outside to eat their dinner. What do? We set the barbecue up and sit outside to eat, right? You have a friend that doesn't like sitting out in the sun because they burn. We eat. So we take those same principles again and we apply them to how people like to work. There's people that I like to work with that like to only be called early in the morning because that's when they're in, so that's when I would call them. There's people that like to have an email with the details and then you can call them to discuss them, and there's people that say don't send me an email at all, only call me. And when you start to learn that about your people and you actually ask your customers how they want to communicate, it's awesome. It's a great way to improve the way that things work together. Sounds good? Okay, it is cool.
All right, so we've talked about the different tools that we have to communicate with an ACI, right? And I think that some of the three popular ones is email, chatter within Salesforce, and then chat within HUD, right? I think we all use those on a day-to-day basis pretty much. So I'm gonna start with email. And I was actually, I sat with Donna yesterday and she went over some different things with email that maybe I had known or maybe I just need a refresher on. And so those are things that I want to share with you because I think that maybe they may be things that you may not be aware of, or maybe they're things that, again, just a refresher would be nice to know. So let's start with some really simple basics when it comes to email, because again, we all use this every single day and we all have inboxes full of email, right? So let's start off with the to. Who goes in the to line? Can anybody answer that? John?
Main subject. So let's say, for example, I'm sending an email to Bill, I'll have Bill direct to
Okay, so that's the person that you want maybe to take action or to reply back?
the direct recipient, yeah. So whoever's responding or whoever's supposed to be paying attention to it.
Right, so there's your to. Okay, so who would you use the CC, the copy?